Welcome back to Cooking Index to Appendix. Today we're cooking a microbrew wing. This is again another beer recipe. If you missed the first one, Darkest Secret Wings, you can check it out from the link here. So if you watched the last one, basically we used the dark beer and we created a really good sauteed recipe. From the review you'll see that maybe I had a little bit too much beer or the beer was a little bit too strong. So today I've gone for a different beer. I've actually gone for a Guinness, which some people would say is the master of all dark beers. Hopefully this is going to be a nice subtle balance and we won't get too much of that bitter beer flavour coming through. So if we come over here, we can have a look at the recipe and all the ingredients. So we've got some normal onions and some red onions. We've then got some apple juice, chicken stock and white wine vinegar. Of course we've got the Guinness, which is our dark beer for today. We've got some onion powder, some garlic powder, some paprika, black pepper, thyme, caraway seeds, and brown sugar. And it's equal portions of all of those. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to add the chicken and all the spices, which is a little bit different to what we normally do. We normally cook the chicken, then add the spices. So I'm going to turn the stove on. We're just going to move the stuff around. Like normal, what I've done is I've actually pre-salted the wings. That's going to help when they start cooking to keep that flavour in. And what we're going to do is we're going to brown these wings for about 8 minutes with all the spices in. So once we start to get a little bit of a sizzle, I'm going to add those spices. We'll then add the onions, let those brown a bit, and then the last phase will be to add all the liquids. So let's just turn these a little bit. I've got quite a heavy pan here, so it takes a little bit of time to heat, but I can already see and feel that these wings are cooking even though we're not hearing that sizzle that we're after. Yeah, that's a good temperature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of these spices. It's going to be really, really good. Put that down there. And I'm going to make sure that these wings are nice and covered. The oil's going to pick up a lot of those flavors as well. And it's going to help those wings to really just soak up those flavors. So we can already see they're nice and coated. Make sure it's nice and even. And that sugar's obviously going to crystallize a little bit and it's going to create a nice little stickiness to the wing. And it's also going to add a little bit of sweetness, which will hopefully counteract the bitter beer. So that's starting to cook away now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook these and brown them for eight or so minutes. And when we come back, we'll have a look at the next phase. Welcome back. So the wings have been cooking for about 8 to 10 minutes. So I browned them first, got them really nice and beautiful. And then what I've done for your viewing pleasure and to save a bit of time is I've already added the onions and those have browned. So if we take a look, you can see here these wings are beautifully browned. Those onions are nice and soft now. A little tip is always make sure you're sort of scraping the bottom because you're going to get all the sticky, beautiful flavors sticking to the bottom and you want to make sure that those are cooking out and cooking through into everything. So now that that's all nice and brown, excuse me, and cooked through, we're going to add some beer. As I mentioned earlier, I'm using Guinness. So we just add a little bit in here. That should be enough. And then we're going to bring that to a light boil. Now, it shouldn't take too long. I've taken this beer out. Another tip is take the beer out prior to cooking so it's nice and cold. It means it comes to temperature when you're cooking it a lot quicker. You're not cooking with sort of cold beer. So while that's coming to a boil, I'm just going to coat these wings, get them all beautiful. So that's already smelling really different to the Darkest Secret wings, as I'd expect. I mean, there's different flavors and everything in here, but it's definitely not a strong beery flavor. Give that a few seconds. Beautiful. Okay, so now we're just going to start to add the remaining liquid ingredients. So that's the stock. It's a little bit of vinegar, and then a little bit of apple juice. Excellent. So we're going to give that a stir. And then I'm going to drop that temperature. Once this comes to a boil, I'm going to drop that temperature to a nice little simmer. I'm going to let it cook for about 8 to 10 minutes, just to sort of finish the wings off, get them all covered. And I'll keep basting them every couple of minutes. So we come to a boil, I'll drop that. And then when we come back, we'll thicken the sauce, coat the wings again, and we'll be ready to eat. So as you can see, these wings now are beautifully cooked. They've been basted for ages. This little sauce mixture is getting nice and reduced. So I'm just going to remove these wings. And then one of the ingredients that I forgot to mention earlier was butter. So we've got those wings out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of butter. I'm going to melt that butter in there. And then that's basically just going to richen up this whole sauce. It's going to give it a nice, beautiful, creamy, buttery flavor. Once that butter is completely melted, we'll add the wings back in, give them their last coating, and then, yeah, you know what time it is. It's wing time. There we go. You can see the colors are already changing. It looks gorgeous. Cool. Wings back in. Coat these bad boys. Again. All off here. Look at that. That is gorgeous. That is beautiful. When I cook wings, I don't actually have enough adjectives to describe how amazing these beautiful beasts are. Cool. So I'm going to serve these up onto a plate, and then we're going to get down to the nitty gritty and we're going to taste them. Welcome back. It's that time again, my favorite time of every recipe. So we can see again we're getting a really dark look. Doesn't look the most appealing. I'm pretty sure they're going to taste amazing. So let me do my thing and find the wing that's going to make me happy, although I'm sure they all will. That one looks great. Oh, these are cooked gorgeously. Those are great. Definitely prefer them over to the dark secret recipe. The big test is going to be, can I eat all of them without them being too bitter? Read the review and you'll find out then. Cheers.